Badly. Just wish Larry a speedy recovery. He's in the hospital. Going to department reports now. Code department.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just some of the highlights from the report you have in front of you there. We had 32 code inspections, 36 permits, $6,182 in permit fees collected. We're continuing to work on the business license collections, and we're down to about 24 who are out of compliance this year, which is exceedingly low. So that's nice to see. We've also got some new construction that started in the city at the retreat at Mill Creek. We have 4 houses started there. The street stopped out recently, so that looks really good. Let's see, what else have we got here? The city marshal has continued to patrol the city data. We had about 55 issue track issues recorded in the month of May that this report covers, and he wrote 87 repair cleanup notices. If you have any questions about the balance of the report, I'd be glad to try and answer.
Sorry, I'll wait on that.
It was still put up from home, and then it just.
Patrick, would you mind, could you elaborate on the planning commission information?
Well, that was on the rezone that came to you all without a recommendation.
Oh, okay, so this, okay.
And it was,
That just seems like it was so long ago, but it actually would have been last month. Okay.
Yes. Sorry about that.
Any more questions for Patrick? Thank you, Patrick.
Yes, sir.
Moving to electric and telecom, Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mayor. Been trending down usage over the past few months. That seems to be turning around over the past couple of days. And in the next couple of weeks, we only used a little under 12 million kilowatt hours, the cost of a little bit over $1 million. Our top user this month was a little over 662 gig. And we are peaking out our capacity. Hopefully this week we'll be turning on another gig of bandwidth, doubling our bandwidth at 56. David has been working tirelessly to get that done before he's done, and hopefully we can get that turned on here shortly. A couple of things of interest to know. The thing I get most of the calls about lately are the McDaniel Street project. They pulled the last pole out of the ground today. We'll be taking off from McDaniel Street, turning down Jackson Street, and headed toward the substation. So hopefully the closures on that street will be at a minimal for the next few weeks. We started the design of the Davis Street, Lacey Street reconductor. This is part of our CIP project for the year to replace the old copper line with aluminum ACSR for reliability and for to reduce electric loss. We've worked with the South Broad T a good bit. We're getting that design pretty well laid out for the lighting. That's the big thing we've got to finish. I've got to meet with Kickenwood tomorrow, do some finalization on that. And then we had some in-depth discussion with ECG's Economic Development about possible data center sites. And they have given me a matrix to fill out. And I've got a couple of buildings ID'd in town. And that'd be good both ways for us, for my department. We would sell them a lot of data, and we'd sell them a lot of power. So I'm looking at some concrete, real structurally sound buildings around town to try to get with the owners and try to figure out how we can get a data center in one of those sites. And that's really all I have besides all our issue track stuff for the month. Take any questions.
Any questions for Brian? Thank you, Brian.
Thank you,
Moving
sir.
to finance with Renee.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few of the stats to point out. Looks like our sales tax is inched up. Well, actually, it's gone up a good bit over the last couple of months. So hopefully that's a bit of a trend there. We'll keep watching that. And then our phone system stats have still not started coming in. I think they're going to kind of work with those reports a little bit, and hopefully next month we'll be able to get you something so we can kind of see our true calls coming in. But I really think that the new phone system's been a good thing. I haven't heard any complaints. I don't know if y'all heard anything. They have, let me know. The way that we've got things routed, I think the calls are being answered pretty well and routed in a good way. So that's a good thing. We'll continue to kind of work on that, and they can change things around if we need to, which is really a good thing there too. Since in the past we didn't have much control over how things were routed. So as far as our finances, the cash balances look like they're in really good shape for this time of the year. Of course, for the general fund, usually things are getting a little bit lean, and waiting on the taxes to come in, and that cash balance is looking really good. The revenue and expenses are coming in pretty much on track. All the departments except for one are under, and that one department's just a little bit over. So doing a good job kind of holding things down to our actual budget. And then if you'll look, the SPLOST, that balance is at $1.4 million, almost $1.5 million. And of course, we need to let that grow a little bit so that we can pay for some of these matches and some of the transportation projects, those big amounts that will be coming up. So I'll take any questions you might have.
Okay, any questions for Renee? Thank you. Moving to Fire Department.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Fire Department in May had 187 total calls. You see the breakdown again. Net assist calls are the dominant call for service. Conducted 321 and a half hours of training. Had a couple of public relations events. Depending on your question.
Okay, Police Department.
The Police Department had 4,476 calls for service, 395 court cases, conducted 308 hours of training. You see the breakdowns on the crimes. They were running about the same as last year. We had 131 adult arrests, 9 juveniles in May. You see the number of community events that we had, and summer picks up. We have more of those type events, and we've had a lot in the last 30 days also. But continue your questions.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Move into solid waste.
Thank you, Mayor. Our report for May, the biggest change in the report is the limb tonnage. We collected 199, close to 200 tons of limb debris. And we also had probably about a 12-ton increase in the sweep operation, and most of that come from storm damage. And that was an additional 30 tons that we picked up while they worked over hours. So really we had close to 230 tons we collected, which doubled compared to last month. But the good part about it, we can get it broke down and I'll break it into mulch and we can get it back to the citizens. That's pretty much it. I'll take any questions if you have any.
Okay, any questions for Danny? Thank you, Danny. Streets and Transportation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just highlighting a few areas. The report, we rented out the community building over on Church Street 7 times in the month of May. Our vehicle and equipment fleet maintenance division continues to work on stuff as it comes in, preventative and corrective maintenance. Our grounds crew is in full swing, especially with the rain that we're starting to get. Grass is growing pretty quick, so they're all over the city cutting the facilities that they're responsible for, as well as picking up some litter. I think they picked up around 400 pounds through the month of May. Our street division, in the month of May, we had 8 streets that we did some repairs on. Sign and markings division, Steve's continued to trend about the same way as he had in the previous months for this year. Our building maintenance division is the same. They continue to work off of work orders and are doing a really good job with that. Current things going on, our contractor out on Breedlove has finished the deep patching portion of our paving project out there. We're going to let it cure out for a little while, let it ride in, and they are patches, so they're not, it's not going to be a smooth ride as you would say if we went in and topped it out. That'll be once we level it and top it that you'll get the final product with that, and that's probably going to be scheduled within the next 2 weeks, so we look forward to getting in over there and getting it topped out. We'll make our first pour tomorrow morning over on Davis Street, continuing the sidewalk on Davis from Ash Street to Wall. We'll pour about 300 feet of new sidewalk over there in the morning. So look forward to getting that in the ground and progressing through that. Other than that, I'll be glad to take any questions regarding the streets and transportation.
Okay, thank you, Jeremiah. Water, sewer, and gas, Mr. Rodney.
Thank you, Mayor. Everything's pretty much trending along as the rest of the year has. We'll notice an increase in the water treatment plant production. That's some of that due to weather, some of it due to hydrant flushing, and also our water tank maintenance. Dropping on down, like I said, everything looks pretty much in line. Just a few things as this month. We finished the Unicio Drive water relocation for Patachi. We also worked on some easements on Highway 11, Bellevue Road, and Oakland Ridge for some sewer rehab work. And we have completely finished the natural gas on 138. So we're completely off the Soul Circles line. Got all that taken care of this past week. So that's done. And just one thing I wanted to make you aware of, the meter change out began today. The contractor did a test run, 86 meters. We'll read those in the morning. We'll be sure that they all read right. And if so, we'll begin the mass change out. So, any questions, I'll keep happy to take them.
How long would that take to get everybody done?
They've got 6 months in the contract. It's probably going to be done in about 3 or 4 months.
Any more questions for Rodney? Thank you, Rodney. We'll move into our committee information now. Does finance have anything?
No, Mayor, we don't have anything this evening.
Okay. Airport?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have one item, and Matthew's going to discuss that.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. This is 2 months in a row we've had an agenda item for airports. I think it's the first time in 4 or 5 years.
A long time.
Anyway, so last month we came before you and asked for approval of restriping the runway, taxiway. I'll give you a brief update on that. They're scheduled to start, and Jeremiah, you may have to refresh my memory, but Monday on the parking lot.
Earliest Monday for the parking areas for the plane.
And then the taxiway runway will be started 2 weeks from Monday. So that's going well, and we are starting to do a few small things out there. I know we're doing an extension of the Richard Parsons Drive, so that's wrapping up. So we are able to tackle a few projects, but as we close out the work we did for the transmission project, which took, I don't know, Brian, what?
Way too long.
Way too long, yeah. That's
about
probably
3 years.
3 years. We're able now to really sit down and identify some projects and really try to catch up on some things that need to be done, whether it be maintenance or just general needs at the airport. And, what I'm proposing is, and if you want to, we can discuss it, to form a commission, an airport, basically a board that was a 5-member board that would oversee and recommend policies on behalf of the airport. These are people that are going to be suggested to be put on this board that are out there on a day-to-day basis. They either own a business, they own a plane, or they have interaction with the airport, and see the needs of the airport much more than what I know I can see and even the staff can see from their daily duties. So as we move along this airport and try to build it and catch up from, like Brian said, the 3 or 4 years that we've been sitting really null there, is to get them involved. And they have been involved in a roundabout way, just not in an official capacity. But there are a lot of good people out there. They have brought needs to me, not really wants, but needs. Striping, for instance, for safety. We need to close some fencing out there. There's about 300 foot of fencing that would keep wildlife out that affects planes. And I think a couple of years ago we had an airplane hit a deer as it was coming in at night. So simple things like that this commission would just really have some oversight over, and they would be our eyes on the ground on a daily basis out there. If you look down in the items of discussion, there's a draft ordinance that really just takes you through everything about this commission. It'd be 5 members appointed by the mayor and council, and they would elect amongst themselves a chairman and a vice chair. Their term would be for 3 years, no compensation, so this would be strictly on a voluntary basis. And again, they would really just recommend policies and give myself reports that I could in turn report back to you. I mean, if there are any just general questions right now, I mean, I know this was kind of sprung on you, but I believe we did discuss it back at the department head retreat and even the budget retreat back in November that we wanted to move forward with things at the airport. Now it seems to be a pretty good opportunity to do so.
Is this additional fencing? Didn't we do fencing a few years ago out there?
We did. Where would that have been? This is a gap. This is an actual gap on the.
That's why I was asking if it was additional fencing.
Right.
I think that gap was left all the way from the time that the original fencing was put.
Right.
It wasn't finished. It's been there.
It never was completed.
And we've had several quotes, I know, in the past. So, but just things like that have just been overlooked because of this transmission line that we have now completed.
Maybe we could the committee could look at things like a fueling station.
Yeah, there are things on our airport CIP that's done every year. Our airport layout plan is due for an update next year. And there's some ideas that I know I have, and I know some people at the airport have, that we may want to just revamp the whole thing. That would work better for the people who use it on a daily basis. And
Maybe additional hangars if there's a need for it.
hangars would be a good option. We actually have a waiting list of about 14 now, and it keeps growing, every couple of months. So.
Well, I know those users will be excited about this committee, because I think they've been asking for it for quite a
Yeah,
while.
I mean, we've got a valuable resource there, and Matthew and I have talked about it several times. We either need to use it or get rid of it. And we're losing, I mean, we got a couple of companies here now that fly their plane to Winder or Covington and drive in to the city because we don't have a fueling station, and we know there's a couple of things we don't have. Some GPS stuff out there. So, I mean, it's time to get serious about this airport so we can grow the way we need to. So, I appreciate Matthew and the committee getting this thing going, and I look forward to seeing what they can do out there.
That's all we have, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Public Works, you have anything?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Utilities?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. We had this discussion about the fiber and remote switch from Mr. Thompson.
Yes, sir. We have one of our CIP projects is a fiber rebuild from George Walton Academy to D&L Grocery on 78. And then another one is data hubs, remote switch gear set out in the plant. And we'll discuss an agreement that has to do with that remote data hub here in a minute. What we identified was, originally we thought about putting in these data hubs that were like a telephone switch that sits on the side of the road, looks like a refrigerator. Those things are expensive. You got to man them, you got to put electricity in them. We looked for options. And one of the options was a county-owned building in Loganville. The county owns a recreation center called Meridian Recreation Center right off of Georgia 20. We met with some of the county staff. They had some needs, and we came to an agreement that we hope y'all will approve here in a minute. But in doing that, we want to go ahead and get this, I wanted to meld these two projects together, and because we've got to run a little bit of fiber for this project. We need to rebuild that line going out D&L, just to make y'all aware of why we really need to rebuild that. EMC abandoned a lot of right-of-way on the side of 78. Once you cross the river, you'll see where EMC built a new pole line on the right-hand side. Everything that goes out through the woods, they just abandoned it about 3 years ago. Well, the owner wants his land back, and we got a wire running down through there. So we looked at that, you know, and when that was originally built, it was built with 248s instead of 196. And so to increase our capacity up through there, our thoughts are, at least up to the river point, go back all the way to the next available splicing point, which will be either at the hospital or at George Walton Academy, and build all the way out to D&L. Now we've got the fiber rebuild from GWA to D&L was budgeted at $62,000, and the data hubs was budgeted at $35,000, for a total of $97,000. What we're asking to spend is $30,240, and we should be able to do both these projects utilizing the county building and using some of our staff to construct some of the fiber. Some of the fiber I'm going to have to contract out for construction, but we should be able to get these in, saving around 30-35% total on the overall project, maybe a little more than that. I'm trying to be a little conservative on that. But I know we don't have a quorum tonight, but I just want to speak about this and we can vote on it, I guess, next week. But that's what we're going to ask, is to go to Georgia Underground, the low bid, for 42,000 feet of 96 count fiber. And that is $30,240. Now, I'll take any questions about both projects now or during the item of action.
We won't have to have any problems with the abandonment, will we?
No, man, we'll just have to rake that wire out and pull it out of the woods. And once we're out, Comcast still has a wire in there too. They're going to have to get their wire out at some point. But we will abandon that short section, and the rest of it we will reuse. There's some wire that feeds some of Rodney's stuff at the pump station. We'll use that wire to feed that. There's other opportunities out there with that wire that we could hopefully reuse it. But part of it's just going to be wrecked out, drug out of the woods, and recycled.
What's the agreement with the county as far as the building? What's the deal?
Well, I think it's 20 years. That's what I asked for.
Okay.
And that will get us through the whole process. The county attorneys are happy with it. We're happy with it. The county needs us as much as we need them. They don't have a disaster recovery site. And during this last storm, they realized they needed one. And so what we're going to be providing to them is an extra fiber to the 911 center to provide them with disaster recovery updates, real-time updates, sort of like we do at what we used to do at our head end until Renee's stuff went off in the cloud. So now I actually like it. But we need each other. And it's really a good side of, the county employees and city employees working together to help solve both problems for people.
Very good.
And you told me that wouldn't be a full strand fiber. It will be a split fiber, right?
Well, what we're going to do, what you mean by split, I believe, is the way the fiber routes now, in Loganville as it goes up in front of Maxi Price. It takes a left. We transport EMC's data and Georgia Public Web's data down that fiber. And what we plan on doing is routing that, if you are familiar where the ball fields are in Loganville, down that little side road, we're going to route those fibers down through there for two reasons. Number one, it's going to be easier. But the main reason is to protect them. There's a lot less traffic. That corner is real congested up there at Maxi Price. And if somebody hit that pole on the corner, we would just be in serious trouble. But if you route those down, they will feed in and feed out of the county building. And then we will be able to, we really have no available fibers.
Well, that's the whole purpose
That's the
in
whole
wanting
purpose
to
of
be
the
there,
switch.
right?
Yes, sir.
In order to,
What it will do is it will
Yeah.
allow us to multiply our fiber capacity in Loganville and serve customers out of that switch. There's other reasons to do it, reliability issues, but this is, the county building has worked out the best for us. And it's secure, we got a key, the county's got a key, they'll let us in the room. They're gonna put environmental controls in there, some air conditioning. It's a little tight, the room, the space is a little tight, maybe we gotta make a couple more trips up there to make sure we can fit everything, but other than that, I think everything's fine. 25 years, Renee, I just looked it up for them. So they got me 5 years more than I wanted.
as Mr. Thompson said, there's not a quorum on the utility committee, so that's all we have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Economic development, Sadie? Did I skip public safety? Does public safety have anything?
We'll be real quick.
Okay.
You can go ahead and go, it won't take but a minute.
You go ahead and go while you're here.
Just
Trying
want
to keep you from spending any money.
Never get money on
Looking back at May was a big month for us. We had over 13 different events that were in downtown. A number of those the city sponsored, but more of those were actually sponsored by private individuals or organizations. We think that's a good sign because it means the social relationships are using our city to support the city. It's great. It's less government-led, more citizen-led. So we're real proud of that. That was close to 7,000 different people, 7,000 people that were at those different events through just the month of May. So that much activity in downtown. Hopefully, that is one of the drivers of getting sales tax up, of getting momentum back up. So we're excited about where May was headed. We're very excited about June. The Sparrow Hill Inn is open, which is the new bed and breakfast. One of the things we keep talking about is more lodging in downtown, or lodging in Monroe. This is a small step. Things like Sparrow Hill will give us some occupancy rates to compare. It will give us more things on the market to make an argument for the need for a hotel in Monroe or in Walton County nearby. So we're taking the small steps before the big things can be won for the city as far as economic development. So I'm proud of that. I'm excited about where downtown is heading. And we're right now collecting responses from the community about their 10-year vision for Monroe. And that's really fun for me because most of them are positive and people have vision and hope for the city. So that's exciting to be leading a city where people are excited about the future. I can't wait to compile all those and let you see the general consensus. No surprises. It's things that we all want for Monroe, but it gives us a concrete goal to say, let's start taking the steps that direction. Any questions or about economic development?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public safety.
Got one item, Mayor, Chief Glass.
Thank you, Mr. Rich. What I'm asking for, back when we applied or was doing all the specs and doing the how to equip the new fire pumper, we applied for a grant with the Walton Health Care Foundation, which we got, and we also at the same time applied for a FEMA grant, which we're just now getting notice that we were accepted. The grant calls for a 5% match. The items that we'll be purchasing with is thermal imaging cameras. There'll be 2 of them. The total sum is $19,600. Our match amount is $980. So I'm asking you permission to spend $980 to secure $19,600 worth of imaging cameras. Cameras are used mainly to find victims in smoke-filled homes. It could also be used with a structure this size that appeared to have fire out. You can be looking at it and you see any hot spots with that camera. If somebody's thrown out of a vehicle at nighttime, if they're out in the woods, you help you find victims, or if you're hunting somebody, it'll help you find them in an unlighted area also. But to just ask for you blessings to move forward with this grant.
Okay. Any discussion on this item? I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the request.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We'll bring this to full council next week, Mayor. That's all we have.
Thank you, Mr. Christie.
Okay. Move into items of discussion for next week. Have 2 appointments on the library board. Lindsay Hickman and Elizabeth Yancey.
They're going off there.
Okay.
And there's 2 letters attached to that item that give the names that are being recommended by the director, Mr. Schaefer, Mr. Bridgman's, and Miss Laird. They're being recommended by Uncle Remus Public Library System to be appointed to that board.
Okay. Any questions on that one? Item 2 is the airport commission ordinance. I think Matthew's pretty much gone into what this is going to cover. You got any more comments on that?
Just next week, we'll just ask you to approve the ordinance to add Chapter 14, Airport Commission.
Okay. And we have one item requiring action tonight. It's approval of the intergovernmental fiber optic access agreement.
Yes, that's what we just discussed a few minutes ago. If you have any more questions about it, I'll tell you, we want to go ahead and get it signed tonight so we can go ahead and start some infrastructure changes at that location.
Are we going to incur any additional expense on this room, building, whatever, cooling, or whatever?
We're buying a switch, of course. That's all under Matthew's spending limit. We've got a rack that we're going to replace in there. And there's one other possibility that we might have to put a natural gas generator, a little small natural gas generator up there, but that should be probably under even my spending limit to get that in there. The only reason I had to price out some batteries for it, and the batteries were more expensive than the switch, so I decided that we'd probably go with the generator.
Is it going to have to be specially cooled?
No, they're going to take care of the room cooling. The switch really doesn't even need that. We've got switches in boxes down at the substation that are the same Cisco manufacturer. They work today out in the heat. But they are going to put some cooling in the room. The county's going to be responsible for that.
And they'll take care of the utility bill?
They'll take care of the utility bill.
Mayor, I'll make the motion that we approve the intergovernmental agreement.
I have a motion by Mr. Little, second by Mr. Adcock. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes.
Thank you.
And it looks like with no other business, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Dixon,
Second.
second by Ms. Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.